गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। जय जय भवानी जय शर्वाणी जय जय भवानी जय जय भवानी जय शर्वाणी जय शर्वाणी परमेशिराणि परमेशिराणि जय ब्रह्माणि जय ब्रह्माणि पातकहारिणि पातकहारिणि जय त्रिकोणी जय त्रिकोणी पातकहारिणि जय त्रिकोणी जय त्रिकोणी जय जय भवानी जय शर्वाणी परमेशिराणि जय ब्रह्माणि जय ब्रह्माणि साधकरक्षिणि साधकरक्षिणि जय श्रीपूर्णी जय श्रीपूर्णी सुन्दररूपिणि सुन्दररूपिणि कारुण्यवर्षिणि कारुण्यवर्षिणि साधकरक्षिणि जय श्रीपूर्णी जय श्रीपूर्णी सुन्दररूपिणि सुन्दररूपिणि कारुण्यवर्षिणि कारुण्यवर्षिणि मंगलस्वरूपिणि मंगलस्वरूपिणि शिवसहचारिणि शिवसहचारिणि मंगलस्वरूपिणि शिवसहचारिणि शिवसहचारिणि जय जय भवानी जय जय भवानी जय सर्वाणि जय सर्वाणि परमेशिराणि परमेशिराणि जय ब्रह्माणि जय ब्रह्माणि जय ब्रह्माणि जय जय भवानी जय जय भवानी जय सर्वाणि जय सर्वाणि जय ब्रह्माणि जय त्रिकोणी जय त्रिकोणी जय ब्रह्माणि चिदंशं विभुं निर्मलं निर्विकल्पं निरीहं निराकारं ओंकारवाच्यं गुणातीतमव्यक्तं एकं तुरीयं परं ब्रह्म यं वेद तस्मै नमस्ते तस्मै नमस्ते विशुद्धं शिवं शान्तं आद्यन्तशून्यं जगज्जीवनं ज्योति आनन्दरूपम् अधिक्देशकाल व्यवच्छेदनीयम् त्रयीवक्तियं वेद तस्मै नमस्ते तस्मै नमस्ते लपन्नच्युतानन्त गोविन्द विष्णो मुरारे हरे नाथ नारायणेति यथानुस्मरिष्यामि भक्त्या भवन्तं तथा मे दयाशील देव प्रसीद तथा मे दयाशील देव प्रसीद देव प्रसीद हरि ओम। Once we have contacted the truth of our real beingness, meaning our real inner self, the nature of our Atman, the nature of our inner self, with all its true innocence and greatness, with all its nobility of the human spirit, then we no longer need any kind of pride inside us. The requirement of pride is in that state where we have not contacted our real beingness. We have not contacted our true nature of the inner self, with all its innocence and its greatness and its nobility. As long as that is not known, then we want to be known to others in a particular way. Our happiness, our status, our position in the society, in the day-to-day living, depends upon how much the others know about us in a positive way. How much of our greatness others recognize. All that is associated with the pride. But when we have contacted that inner self, then we just know what we are. We know what we are, and this self-knowledge is enough. Then there is no botheration about how others know about us, what others comment about us, what opinions others express about us. All those things matter most as long as we don't know what we are. Once we know what we are intrinsically, in truth, in reality, it does not matter afterwards. That knowledge is sufficient, that is enough for us. Then we don't need to bother about what others think about us. How to make others think about us. That is a big pressure in our mind. That is a big burden which the people carry at the egoistic level of living. If I am living like this, I am not satisfied with it unless and until you express satisfaction, and for which I have to put efforts to make you satisfied. And you are living at the level of the ego, and unless you are satisfied at that level of the ego, you don't give certificate. You don't pass me. You don't give pass marks. So, here I am waiting for you to give certificate to me. So, as long as you don't give certificate, I am not satisfied. So, as long as your ego is not satisfied, my ego is not satisfied. This is egoistic living, where the pride is necessary. So, people give so much of importance to the pride. But in the living which is connected with the true knowledge of our own inner self, nothing else is necessary. Whatever we do, with whomsoever we relate from that level of knowledge. Our relationship is not external. Our relationship will be internal, intrinsical. When we truly love something, then what happens? We become one with it. When we really love something, we become one with it. Why? It is because we see the inner perfection, the intrinsic perfection. In everything that we see, inside of it is perfect. The inside of it is divinity. The inside of it is godliness. The inside of it is the real self. That is perfect. And when we love somebody truly, we see that. We come into contact with that. True love always comes into contact with that intrinsic beauty, the inner presence. The superficial love comes into contact only with the superficial layers. How do you appear? How are you rated? How do you look? What is the public opinion? What is the market stock listing about you? How are you listed in the public opinion market? All these count. So even in spiritual living, some people are so fascinated by this market rating that they live for the sake of market rating. Superficial living needs all these things. Intrinsic living doesn't need these things. In real love, when we are contacting and recognizing that intrinsic perfection, all the faults that are associated, limitations that are there of the outer layers, they are part and parcel of that perfection. The inside is perfect. In every being, that inside is perfect. Without that perfection, no being lives. But how much of that inner perfection we come into contact with, we see, it depends upon our level of knowledge and understanding. So, everything that is there in this universe is in the process of becoming. The being is intact. Whether anybody becomes anything or not, the being is always there. Without that being, the becoming is not possible. Every one of us carry that being inside us. That divine being is there. That is already perfect. You need not make it perfect. In fact, you can never make it perfect, because you are already perfect. Everybody carries that beingness. So that becoming, whatever is there, every human being is trying to become something. That process of becoming is connected with that inner perfection. The evolution is a perfect part of that perfection. The process of becoming is a perfect part of that perfection. The outer layers might have imperfections, but that process of becoming is a part of that perfection. Like half unfolded flower is not an imperfect flower. If we want to rate it like that, we can rate it. If our opinion is like that, we can have that opinion. If we can have a remark, we can have a remark. If we can gather a few fools along with us and say half unfolded flower is an imperfected flower, it cannot be accepted. Then that imperfect flower, which is rated like that by us, will start finding its defense now, to defend itself. Whenever somebody calls us imperfect, we defend. Because we don't know what we are. At least we don't have the knowledge of our true self. So we always are not satisfied unless and until somebody calls us perfect. Let it be an imperfect fellow who has no knowledge about oneself or of us. But if an opinion is expressed, you are perfect, finished, we feel very happy, because ego feels like that. So half unfolded flower is not an imperfect flower. It is in the process of becoming. Even that half unfolded level is also a part of that perfection. It is perfect. It is perfectly half unfolded. Who says it is imperfection except our stupid mind, which does not know how to see that level of perfection of unfoldment? So we think our mind is the measure of the whole world, and we start measuring everybody. Who measures like that? The egoistic self only measures like that. I am not satisfied with myself, so I try to derive satisfaction by rating you. That is what everybody is doing, busy in rating others, adding value to the listings. So, a half unfolded flower is also beautiful in that level, if you see like that. Because tomorrow it is going to become fully blossomed. It is a process of becoming. But for that process of becoming also, the substratum is being. The substratum is being. Without that substratum, even the flower cannot remain half unfolded in that stage. Every stage, but the stage also is process of that perfection. It is not that only fully blossomed flower is perfect. Everything is a process of that perfection. If this is understood, we don't bother about any imperfection around us according to our egoistic understanding. Where is the botheration then? You are not up to my expectation, you are not up to my mark, you are not up to my opinion, you are not up to that rating. We are talking business in spiritual path also. If we are talking about these ratings and all. Everything according to the divine will is in that stage of becoming, which is connected with the process of perfection. If we see like that, all individuals around us are a part of that process of becoming, which is perfect. If that is understood, there is no stress inside our mind in relationships. Everybody is as one should be. Who am I here to say, you are not like this, you are not like that? I am not like this, I am not like that. I rate myself without proper knowledge and feel guilty about everything. I rate others and then feel they are not up to the mark. Neither I am satisfied with myself, nor I am satisfied with others. A dissatisfied person creates more dissatisfaction in others, and then both of them are in search of satisfaction. The way in which we look at things determines our level of satisfaction. According to the laws of the universe, everything that is becoming is perfect in that stage in which it is in that process of becoming. If we discard that half unfolded flower, reject it is not perfect, we will not be able to experience that blossomed beauty of that flower, the fragrance of that flower, the lovely look of that flower, the benefit of offering it to the God also, and thereby deriving some blessings also. We cannot. Our mind is not the measure of the world, and nobody has appointed us to measure the world. So, it is said in the path of Sharanagati, Sharanagati becomes easy when we don't bother about all these things. When we see that intrinsic presence of the divinity, and the outside also is a process of becoming. Everybody is moving in that process of becoming, and whatever stage they are on the process of becoming fully blossomed. If not today, tomorrow that will happen. So once we see that if it is all being taken care by divinity itself, are we taking care of the world? Do we have the capacity to take care of ourselves at least? We can't even properly take care of our mind, and we set out on a journey to take care of all others. There are people who go on suffering inside thinking that they are not able to improve the whole world. Who appointed them to improve the whole world? Nobody has given that ministry to them. So, we need to understand this. Each individual on this planet is unfolding, growing, learning, and reflecting the same perfection. Inside each individual who is learning, growing, unfolding, there is the same perfection. No one has it less and none has it more. The same perfection is there inside. If that is seen, then the process of surrender becomes more easy. In a math class, the teacher was trying to teach to the students in this manner. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. A is equal to B, B is equal to C. That means A is equal to C. Then the students nodded. Okay. Then the teacher asked, give me a practical example of this. Most of the students did not know what to say. One student got up. Sir, I can give you a practical example of this. Give. Sir, you said if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. He said, yes. Then, sir, he said practically, I love you, sir. I love you, sir. A is equal to B. You love your daughter. You love your daughter. B is equal to C. This means I love your daughter. That math teacher understood it so much that he could not resist himself from reacting. Very practical example. See, math becomes so easy if it is understood in this way. Otherwise, it can be taken seriously. The teacher asks the students what they want to do in the future. Students, the teacher asked. They are not even in the intermediate level or graduation level. School students. What do you want to become in the future? So Ram, one student said, I want to be a pilot. Then Vinod, another student said, I want to be a doctor. Then Deepa said, I want to be a good mother. Then Ravi said, I want to help Deepa. He must be sincere in saying, in that age he doesn't know what it is, but he must be very sincere. So anything anybody wants to become, the process of becoming is connected with the final blossoming. All the great masters and evolved people, they see the intrinsic perfection and they see the divine plan in the process of becoming. They don't have any complaints about anything. But the imperfect people always have complaints about everything. So, what we need to understand is, in the path of surrender, there are already so many things that are there inside the negative feelings, emotions. We need to surrender them. We need to leave them at the feet of the God. In order to leave them at the feet of the God, already there are enough negativities. Why create more? So we should be able to bring all these things up to the level of conscious observation and then surrender them. It is said in our scriptures that truly humble person cannot be humbled. Truly humble people are immune to humiliation. because they have nothing to defend. Who will try to defend those who do not know about that intrinsic presence? They will try to defend. And these truly humble people, there is no vulnerability. Therefore, they are truly humble and they don't experience the critical attacks by others as detrimental to their peace or satisfaction or progress. A truly humble person, a truly humble, not posing humility, demonstrating humility, displaying humility, acting humility, announcing humility, proclaiming humility. There are so many people who do this. But truly humble person sees the critical verbalization by the another person as a statement of the person's inner problems. Anybody who verbalizes this in a critical manner is because inner problem. There is some problem inside. I cannot handle myself. I cannot feel satisfied with myself. I am not able to find peace with myself. So I try to find it by trying to bring about a change in you, which will never happen. That is why there is so much of conflict and struggle in relationships. So, real humility never ever gets affected by critical attacks by others, because it doesn't see that there is any problem in oneself. It sees as the problem in the person who is trying to do this. The inability to handle one's own mind results in such things. When we achieve certain goals, if we achieve those goals for pleasure and enjoyment, love of our accomplishment, and the inner joy that it brings to us, there is a joy that is inside. When we accomplish something, that joy is there. Then we are invulnerable, meaning we will never get wounded to the reaction of others. When whatever we are doing, if we are doing because it brings us so much joy, because there is love of that accomplishment, because we are doing it for the sake of enjoyment, we will not be vulnerable. We will not be wounded. But if we are not doing that for the sake of enjoyment, we don't love what we are doing, and whatever we are doing is not bringing joy to us, then we get wounded. Nobody need to say anything. I will wound myself. And then others are ready also to contribute to that. Whenever we come across such situations, the best way to handle them, for the sake of the true peace inside and real accomplishment, to go ahead in the process of becoming, by being conscious of that being which supports this process of becoming. But for God, how can anything become whatever it is becoming? It is only that being which supports all becoming. In the becoming, the being has to be recognized. No being can happen without that, no becoming can happen without that being. So, the more powerful we are inwardly, the more flexible we become outwardly. The real flexible people are only those who are powerful inwardly. And when we are flexible, we become open to all that is beneficial. Everything that is beneficial, we become open to that. And then we start supporting others, we start encouraging others, we start lending strength to others. Whatever is positive, whatever is constructive, we start helping ourselves and others in that process of development, which brings us the pleasure of watching others grow in their own process of becoming, and then we start enjoying that happiness of being a part in the becoming of blossoming of others. We become very happy. We feel that we are a part of that. We feel that we could play our part. We are also responsible in that. The teacher asked the student, A for. The student said, apple. Because the teacher shouted, the student was little frightened. He said, apple. Then the teacher said, Jor se bolo. Then the student said, Jai Mata Di. So he has his own way of understanding. The little kid asked the parents, because he was browsing through the photos of the marriage of his parents, the little kid's parents, and also honeymoon photos, marriage and honeymoon photographs. The kid was browsing because they were all available in the touch screens. So nowadays kids, they all touch screens very efficiently than the elders also. So touching and browsing. So then this little kid asked the parents, Dad and Mom, where I was when you were in honeymoon? Most commonly asked question. Where was I in your marriage? Where was I in your honeymoon? He asked, where I was when you were in honeymoon. Both of them looked at each other. And nowadays kids doesn't get satisfied by the looks. They want answers. So the dad said, when we were going to honeymoon, you were with me. And when we were coming back from honeymoon, you were with your mother. The child said, thank you. Wherever we are going, we are always with that being. Wherever we go, whether we are going or coming, whether we are doing anything or not doing, we are always with that being. The connection with the being is very important. There was one political function where the Prime Minister was there delivering some lecture. So one of the important committee members of that particular party was also there seated, besides a very nice, smart looking young girl. So probably in order to strike the conversation, and that also there had to be some valid point to strike the conversation, and this man said, isn't it that this Prime Minister looks a dummy? Always controlled by somebody behind the screen. Of course, that the case is true in this scenario also. So, isn't it the Prime Minister looks dummy? He has nothing independent to decide. He is not independent, always consulting, always asking. And that girl said, who do you think am I? Do you know who am I? He said, no, may I know who you are? I am the daughter of the Prime Minister. Then he was shocked. Then he asked, do you know who am I? She said, no, thank you. He immediately left. He left because if he stays there and if she comes to know who he is, and then he reports to the Prime Minister and he will be out of the party in the position. So sometimes not knowing what we are also is good. So that there is at least some freedom to talk about or something, whatever it is. When we look into ourselves, in addition to the pride, there is also cravingness cravingness which is there. Strong desire is called as cravingness. And this cravingness, according to the path of surrender, Sharanagati, functions as a block for getting what we want. Cravingness functions as a block for getting what we want. Desire means I do not have. I do not have. It is not mine or it is not ours. Please understand this. Desire means I do not have. It is not mine or it is not ours or we do not have. We put a distance between ourselves and what we want. Who is putting this distance? We only. The very desire means we don't have. It is not ours. Meaning that distance is created now. This distance becomes an obstacle in our life and it consumes the energy. Because it is the block. And this block which is there between ourselves and that particular thing which we want, because of the desire we have created that gap, it results in fear of not getting it. We don't have, it is not mine. Meaning what? When I try to have it, there is a fear of not getting it. Don't people undergo this fear of not getting it? I may not be able to get it. I may not be able to achieve it. I may not be able to have it. I may not be able to experience it. That fear sets in. Where does the fear set in? It is only in that gap, in that block. So, according to Sharanagati, what is to be done here is, that also is creating a lot of restlessness inside us. Craving which is there is already restless, and now fear also is added. Now dissatisfaction is already there. We don't have it. It is not ours. And now fear also. Then because of that fear, we have already seen yesterday, that is so powerful that whatever we fear, if we totally get involved in that fear, that alone will become a reality. So we are stuck in those negative feelings. So what we have to do? What has to be done here is to avoid that struggle, that inner struggle which is there and which demands so much of effort from us. We need to get out of that struggle, we need to get out of that block, we need to surrender that desire. Surrender that very desire. When we surrender that desire unto God, surrender that desire unto divinity, thereafterwards we come to see that whatever we have chosen will come to appear in our life, will come to happen in our life magically. Whatever we hold in our mind, this cravingness is not there. Excessive desire is not there. We hold it in our mind as a goal. We hold it. And when we concentrate upon it, without this mental cravingness, without this gap, without this fear making an entry into this gap, without that block, then it is said, whatever we set our mind upon, it happens. Not by pursuing the desire, but by surrendering the desire. This is the way of the evolved. The way of the unevolved is continuously pursue the desire. When we totally surrender that desire, the tension is gone. It is okay if it happens, and it is fine if it doesn't happen. That is the state of mind. And in that state of mind, the concentration is total. The focus is complete. The focus on that, what we have chosen, what we want to be there with us. Without this craving, without the fear, without the block, without the gap, without the distance, without the separation. The mind is focused on that. And whatever the mind is focused upon, it will manifest in our lives. Even in Yoga Vasishta, we have seen in few of the discourses that we have conducted here, that Vasishta Maharshi also lays great emphasis upon focusing the mind on what we want, not getting involved in the maddening pursuit of it, craving of it, mental craving of it. This mental craving creates that gap, creates the dissatisfaction, makes us feel that we don't have it. The mind is not comfortable in the very process of having it. Fear sets in. So all the negativities set in. Who is giving room for these negativities to set in? We only are giving the room. That is why desire surrendered will allow what we want to manifest in our lives. But surrender it unto God. That makes our living more comfortable and more peaceful. Few things we have to understand here. At one level of living, whole mind is focused on having. I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have that, I want to have this also, that also, after that, that also, after this also. Always the mind is focused on having. So always we are begging, asking, pleading, requesting, I want to have this, please give me that, please give me this. Always have, I want to have more. Go to have more and have an ice cream once more. So I want to have more and more. Always having. The whole focus, the whole attention, every moment, everything that we do is only to have. More we have, more important we feel. More we have, more status the people also give to us. Oh, he has more, she has more. Oh, let us also regard, let us also consider, let us also give importance. That is how people are. If you have more, then I can also have something of that what you have more. So I give importance to you. Not because of you, but because of what you have more. So that is why people, in order to gain others' importance and attention, they will have more. The greediness sets in. Hoarding sets in. Stinginess sets in. Again negativity is set in. What we are discussing here is negativities. How they are setting inside ourselves without knowing only. We don't know that this is how these negativities are setting inside us. So we want to have more and more. So it is what we have that we value, and it is what we have that gives us self-image, self-worth and position in the world. Please understand this. People crave for this self-image, self-worth and position in this world. So how do we get it? In this lower level of living, have it. Wherever it is, whatever it is, have it. This is how the grabbing gets into grab the position, grab the power, grab the importance, grab the attention. Always I want to grab. Have it. I am not satisfied with a normal way of functioning. I want to have, wherever I am, I want to have the power, I want to have the position, I want to have the control on finances, I want to have the control on people, I want to control others' minds. Control, have. This is where the struggle is in individual's life. Such a person will never feel happy, never be peaceful, never allows others also to be peaceful. Don't we see such people around us? Everywhere they are there. Everywhere such people are there. They are not happy with themselves. They will not allow others to be happy unless and until they are evolved. Having. Always having. Every now and then they talk. I want to have. How much you have? How much I have? How much more I can have? How much more you will have? Always what I have should be more than what you have. The whole mind is stuck there, fixed there, having. Anything they talk, anything they do, anything they don't do, everything is connected with having. Oh, you don't have that. Oh, you don't have that. Oh, they have that. I don't have it yet. He has that. Oh, she has that. I don't have it. Always having. then only they feel that there is some worthiness. There is some position in this world. There comes a time, there arises a time where by the will of God, grace of the divine, their own self-effort, they will have. We will have whatever we want to have. Then they will understand the level of dissatisfaction inside my mind before having, while craving for having, after having, almost same. Almost same. I have so many things now, but where is this contentment? What is the worth of having so much? Then all these people who hoarded money, black money, this money, white money, red money, yellow money, whatever money it is there, they want to do now. All having no satisfaction. Now the mind gets into doing. I do this, you do that, they do that, do. Always you do. They always want to make people do. You do this, you do that. They are not happy, they can't keep quiet, they will not allow others to keep quiet. Unless until you do this, you are not accepted. You do this, you do that, do. Always. They will be talking about peace, but they will be peaceless. Do that. Don't we see these people? There are people always doing. I am doing this, I am doing that. Are you not doing? What are you doing? Are you not doing anything? What is this? What is the use of living? Do this, do that. Always. Then, unless we do something, we don't have self-image, we don't have self-worth, we don't have position in this world. Unless we do something. So then doing. So always tell, I am doing this, I am doing that. Without me, nothing happens. Without you, always they talk about doing. The whole discussion will be in doing. Now having gaya, now doing gaya. They have risen in the evolution. So now doing. I want to do for myself, I want to do for my family. Then slowly, little more evolution. I want to do for my friends, I want to do for my neighbors, I want to do for the society, I want to do for the organization, I want to do for the institution, I want to do for the state, I want to do for the country, I want to do for the world. That from there it begins. So from doing for my sake to doing for others' sake. So more and more selflessness also happens because I am doing for something I have to do for you, something. Always they want to do. Earlier they were always trying to do for themselves, now they are trying to do for others. So in that process of doing for others, more love for others, more concern for others, more kindness towards others. There is a growth inside now, more growth. So more lovingness starts happening and they start enjoying this doing, enjoy doing. Earlier they enjoyed only having, hoarding, having, grabbing. Now doing. And when they look at the people who are having, they say, what you are having still? Come on, do. You do something with what you have. Whatever you have is not for you to have. Do. Always. So they are doing, they are making others also doing. Continuously do. And then when they start doing for others also, there is some lovingness, kindness, they start enjoying, there is some selfless service. And then there is orientation in becoming instrumental in making others achieve what they want to achieve and serve them, give them something. So the consciousness starts growing inside us. And then they come to see one thing. When they are constantly serving others, their needs get fulfilled. This is the law of the universe. When they are constantly serving others selflessly, whatever their needs are, they start happening because God takes care of them, universe takes care of them, the cosmic force takes care of them. They start happening and they enjoy more. Or whatever they wanted, they are all getting fulfilled. Their responsibilities, their duties, they are taken care of. That is why such people plunge more and more into doing. But they were always talking about doing only. But because of that evolution, because of that more higher level of consciousness, slowly, they start loving more, enjoying what they are doing, enjoying when others are really gaining something. Earlier, they were enjoying only when they hoard, they have, they gain, they get, they possess, they own. But now, when others gain, when others get, they started enjoying. So now they are in a different level of consciousness. Earlier, their self-worth was in having, now their self-worth is in Doing. Earlier their position was in having, now their position is in doing. Earlier their self-image was in having, the more I have, the more image, now the more I do, the more image. Now these people also have some problem. They always say, you don't do anything? What is it? And sometimes this goes on to eccentric levels. You are not doing it, you are useless, I am never useful, I am doing it. Whatever it is, everything has this plus and pros and cons of it. So now they become more loving and all. Then slowly what happens? The doing also, they come to discover that still they are not complete. They are not complete. That completeness, that totality is not there. Then they start going deep in that pursuit. Then slowly they come to realize and understand. It is in being one with what we are. There is that totality. There is that completeness. There is that fulfillment. There is no gap. There is no separation. There is no distance. There is no dissatisfaction. There is no stress. There is no strain. In that beingness, being one with what we are, then they got oriented towards that. Knowing about their true nature, being with it. So much of fulfillment, so much of happiness, so much of contentment, so much of love pours out from them. They are no more doing anything, they are no more having anything. They are being. They are being one with themselves. They are reveling in that being, enjoying that being. Then the love manifests out of them. Then it beams out. That beingness beams out of them. Then many people start getting attracted to them automatically, because that love pulls, that beingness pulls, and in beingness they enjoy. No more they give any importance to having or doing. They revel in being. Like Taponji Maharaj was reveling in beingness. Ramana Maharishi was reveling in beingness. Great masters were reveling in beingness. While doing also, Swami Chinmayananda was reveling in that beingness only. That is why the doingness had no craving. The doingness had no requirement for any honors, awards, positions. So beingness. In this level, there is so much of joy and so much of fulfillment that we are what we are, being one with whatever we are. People seek our company not because we have something, not because we do something. We don't need to have anything, we don't need to do anything. Be with oneself, people will come and sit. They want to be in the presence. That is how when masters sit in caves, they don't have anything, they don't do anything. They just are. And whole world goes to them. As we evolve, we start getting attracted towards that higher levels, and we start going and sitting at their feet. They don't have anything. They are beggars. They don't do anything. There is nothing for them to do now. No need to do anything. Neither to get rid of anything they have to do anything, nor to gain anything. They neither to gain anything nor to get rid of anything. Like Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, I have nothing to do, but still I do for the sake of the auspiciousness in the society. That's all. So beingness. Then the quality of the presence of that people will influence not only human beings, animals, birds, insects, everything, reptiles, all beings, all organisms are influenced by that overpowering presence of divine love and divinity. Being. When we are in that state of being, everything starts happening around us. It just happens. In contrast to having and doing, the level of being is the most powerful, most energetic. Earlier, having looks powerful and energetic. Later on, doing looks powerful and energetic. Now, real power and real energy is in the being, not in the having and not in the doing. And whatever such people hold, that will manifest. That is why the world goes to them. Please bless us. Please wish for us. Please say something. You say something, it will happen. You say something, it will be a blessing. You say something, obstacles will go away. You say something. We see the world goes to these masters who are in the level of being. They go, they sit. All the people who go there are going there only for selfish purposes. Because they say, you tell, just you bless. They go. Why? Because when they say something, it will happen. Why? Because they don't have anything in their mind. They are in the beingness. They are reveling in that oneness. So anything is said, it will happen. And you sit in front of them, they know what we are. They know why we came also. They know what is in our mind also. Because they are in the beingness. So that beingness is the most important thing in our lives. When we keep on surrendering, all cravings to have something, all cravings to do something, we get into being. In the process of evolution, having also is required at that stage, doing also is required at another stage. That is all. After that, you have to grow out of them, go away from them. In the being. Because everything that happens in every individual's lives is connected with some decision that we have taken at some point of our life or lifetimes. Nothing happens in disconnectedness with these decisions. We have taken decisions. We are not aware of them, not conscious of them, not registered them, but the one who takes care of all this registers all these things. So, instead of motivation of selfishness and desire, we can much more effortlessly bring into our life whatever we want by envisioning. Envisioning means picturizing it, visualizing it, by creating mental images of it, whatever we want to happen in our life. We do this by declaration of our intention, by acceptance, by decision, and by act of conscious choosing. Here desire is meaningless. Craving is purposeless. Let go of the desire, let go of the craving. Mentally focus. Choose what we want and it manifests. So, being is most important thing for us to attain. Path of surrender will take us there. Sharanagati will take us there. Surrender. The cravings for having, the cravings of doing, we will get into the being. That is most fulfilling. That is most divine. That is most powerful. That is most loving. That is most energetic. From that state, desire looks non-required, useless. There is no need for the desire. That is where Swami Chinmayananda also says, surrender the desire, it will happen. Lessening the desires. And normally people think, if we lessen the desires, how can I achieve things? This is a different way of achieving things. Because the mind becomes so clear, so pure, so free from all these gaps, fears, distances, doubts, suspicions, distractions. It is easy for us to achieve things. Then the dealing of other negativities also becomes very easy. In dealing with anger that is expressed by others also, when we acknowledge the value of others, whosoever are angry, when we acknowledge the value of others, once their value to us has been acknowledged, they will become peaceful. Their anger will go down. Their nagging will stop. We have to acknowledge their value to us. Because even the source of anger stems forth from the unacknowledged acts of love that we have expressed to others. So if we properly acknowledge, then their anger also will subside. Otherwise, what happens? In that state of anger, we start insisting something from the other, pressurizing something from the other, for the sake of gaining something from the other. So when we start insisting that which we want, that which we desire, that which we insist upon from another person is felt by the others as pressure, because the intention behind the angry expression is negative, and this negative intent which is there behind this anger will have a negative consequence. Even if it is not expressed outside, it will have a negative consequence. Instead of that, if we surrender that anger, we become more peaceful, and in that state of peaceful expression of love, we will get what we want from others also, because others will be ready to respond to us in love, not in anger. Anger they resist, because whatever we try to say, insist upon, is the pressure upon them, and nobody likes to take pressures. The moment you pressurize them, they will go away. Internally they are gone, externally out of fear they may be there. They are gone already. So only in love these things can happen. We can get what we want when we stop insisting from others. That is the secret. You have to stop insisting. The internal position we hold about other person is forcing them to adopt a similar position. Same is the case with other negative emotions which I have discussed yesterday, depression and apathy. They also result from willingness to hang on to the egoistic self and belief systems, plus resistance to the higher self. Belief systems, hanging on to egoistic self, and resistance to the higher self. The higher self consists of all opposites to these negative feelings, meaning it consists of all positive feelings. But this egoistic self resists the higher self. So the higher self, which has all the positive feelings and divine feelings, do not manifest in us. So we will be subject to negative thought, negative belief, because we constantly are rooted in it. And we also say it applies to me, and then it will definitely applies to us. The capacities and capabilities when we connect with higher self are unlimited. The higher self can create favorable situations if we drop the negativities, get out of the egoistic self, get out of these lower impulses, negative feelings, and surrender them to divinity. We can get connected to the higher self, and this higher self can make many things manifest for us. Bhukti and mukti both. The higher self, when we are connected with that higher self and then focus our mind upon what we want, it can create employment opportunities, it can create healing in relationships, it can manifest love in relationships, it can create physical healing, it can bring about creativity, it can bring about positive vision, it can bring about self-esteem, it can bring about all the things that we want when we are connected with the higher self. But in order to get connected to that, we have to choose to become more aware, more conscious, and more responsible towards us. More aware, more conscious, and more responsible. If we don't resist these negativities, they vanish in no time. As a study that is conducted about grief, if you don't resist the grief and continuously surrender, in few minutes the whole grief will vanish. But instead of making it vanish, we get drowned in it, involved in it, in negativities. We try other ways by which we increase these negativities, and we get stuck there. As long as we feel incomplete in ourselves, we hold on to these negativities, including attachment, including dependency, so on and so forth. Therefore, we keep on seeking always external favors. The more we surrender these negativities, the less we depend upon anything externally. One person asked the other, "What are you doing to keep marriage together?" Because in certain places, according to certain patterns of culture, it is very difficult for them to hold on together for a long period of time. So he was asking the other, "What are you doing to keep your marriage together?" The other person is responding, "We are sleeping in separate rooms, we are having dinner apart, we take separate vacations, we are doing everything we can keep the marriage together." Because they can't stand each other, so what to do? All separate, all separate. And someone said, marriage is like going to a restaurant with friends, and where each one orders whatever one wants. And afterwards, when we look at something that is there in the plate of the another, we wish we had that. Because after ordering in the restaurant, we eat. After that, we look at something in the plate of the other, and we wish we had that. So someone said marriage is like that. Another person said, when a newly married person is happy, we know why. When a 10-year-old married person is happy, we wonder why. Knowing why and wondering why is totally different things. There was one movie actress, she was asked to fill an application because there are so many other things to be taken care of. So as she was filing the application, there was one column. What is the marital status? She thought for a while and then wrote, occasionally married. Because movie, no? So many marriages are there, occasionally married. Two husbands were discussing in United States of America. US husbands. One husband said, I got married because I was tired of eating out, cleaning utensils and washing clothes. I got married because I was tired of eating outside, cleaning utensils and washing clothes. The other fellow said, I got divorced because of the same thing. In the state of surrender of all the desires, apathies, griefs, anger, pride, resentments, negativities, fears, when we constantly surrender our negative feelings, we cure the present pain and we prevent the occurrence of future pain. The fear that is there in us, it will be replaced by trust and a sense of well-being. Then, the dependence on the divinity within makes us immune to grief and loss. What are all the benefits that we are having because of surrender? The divinity within makes us immune to grief and loss. The fear is replaced by trust and a sense of well-being. The pain of the present is cured. The pain of the future is prevented. All by surrendering the negativities. The fear that we have gets healed by the love that manifests when we surrender the fear. Love means surrendering the fear in this process. As we surrender the fear, so the love starts happening in us. The more we surrender the negativities, the more love happens inside us. And the love slowly goes into that state of unconditionality, which is the love of the saints, sages. And we also see this love in mother and father at one point of time. So we see this love. So we grow into that state of love. And from that state, whatever negativities we are holding, they look meaningless. In fact, somebody did a lot of study and said 99% of the guilt has nothing whatsoever to do with the reality that belongs to us. 99% of the guilt has nothing to do with that reality, which is the beingness, which is our inner self. That guilt is self-condemnation and self-invalidation of our worth and value as a human being. Self-condemnation, self-invalidation. That is why we need to surrender that guilt. When we look deeply within ourselves and when we discover that innocence which is there, then we stop self-hate, self-condemnation. Hating others, condemning others. Both will be stopped. Hating oneself, condemning oneself, hating others, condemning others. Both will be stopped. Illusion after illusion will fall away. Negative programming will go away. We start feeling lighter and lighter, happier and happier, brighter and brighter, peaceful, more and more peaceful. And effortlessly we start experiencing the joy, the contentment, and the fulfillment. Someone said, always listen to your wife. She gives a sound advice. And the other person said, explain sound advice. He said, 99% sound, 1% advice. One kid asked in the Western world to his dad, Dad, why do couples hold hands on their wedding day? Why do couples hold hands on their wedding day? And the father replied, it is just a formality, my son, like the boxers shaking their hands before the fight. What a comparison. He has his own comparison. Boxers shaking their hand before fight. Each person perceives anything that is there in this world according to one's own level of experience and understanding. If that person is stuck there, that person thinks that alone is reality. But reality is much more. So we need to surrender all the negativities. So in order to surrender, we need to look at the divinity. Bhavabdhavapare mahadukha bhiruhu prapata prakami pralobhi pramattaha kusamsara pasha prabadhas sadaham gatistvam tvameka bhavani gatistvam tvameka bhavani. Adi Shankaracharya ji in Bhavani Ashtakam. Yesterday we have seen the Vishnu Bhujanga Prayata Stotram slokas in the 2 days. Today we are seeing the Bhavani Ashtakam slokas by Adi Shankaracharya ji. Bhavabdhavapare Bhavabdhavapare Mahadukha bhiruhu Mahadukha bhiruhu Prapata prakami Pralobhi pramattaha Kusamsara pasha Prabadhas sadaham Gatistvam Tvameka bhavani Gatistvam Tvameka bhavani Tvameka bhavani Bhavani Tvam eka Gatistvam Tvameka bhavani. O Mother Bhavani, you are the only refuge for me. There is no one else. There is no other shelter. There is no other protection. You only have to give me the shelter. In you only I take my refuge. You only have to protect me. Gatistvam Tvameka bhavani. And what is my position? Bhavabdhavapare mahadukha bhiruhu. I have fallen into this samsara, into this changing world, which is ridden with dukkha, fear. So much of desires are there in me. I have fallen into the shoreless samsara because of this excessive desire, which led me into this fear, into this misery. Desire alone leads into dukkha and bhaya. So because of this excessive desire, I got into misery, I got into fear. Bhavabdhavapare mahadukha bhiruhu prapata prakami pralobhi pramattaha prapata prakami pralobhi pramattaha. Because of this, there is so much of excessiveness, of cravingness, mental cravingness, greediness, inattention, carelessness, negligence, all have set into me. Negligence is there, inattention is there, carelessness is there, greediness is there, cravingness is there. All these are there. Kusamsara pasha prabadda sadaham. Kusamsara pasha prabadda sadaham. I am tied down. I am chained. I am fettered by this chain of birth and death of the samsara. Kusamsara pasha prabadda sadaham. I am always chained, fettered, jailed, tied down by this chain, by this samsara of birth and death. I don't know how to lift myself. I don't know how to come out of this greediness, inattention, carelessness, negligence, too much of craving, fear, misery, desire. I don't know. I don't know anything. So I know only one thing now. What? To take refuge in you, to surrender. I surrender all of them unto you. I surrender the inattention, I can't do anything with it. I surrender the carelessness, I surrender the desire, I surrender the misery, I surrender the fear, I surrender the negligence, I surrender everything because I can't handle them. I can't do anything with them. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to deal with them. But I know only one thing. You are there. I surrender everything unto you. Gatistvam tvameka bhavani kukarmi kusangi kubuddhih kudasaha कुलाचारहीनः कदाचारहीनः कुलाचारहीनः कदाचारहीनः कुदृष्टिः कुवाक्य कुदृष्टिः कुवाक्य प्रबन्धः सदाहम् प्रबन्धः सदाहम् गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी कुकर्मी कुसंगी कुबुद्धिः कुदासः कुलाचारहीनः कदाचारहीनः कुदृष्टिः कुवाक्य प्रबन्धः सदाहम् गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी गतिस्त्वं त्वमेका भवानी. O Mother Bhavani, I have been following bad path. I have bad qualities. Kukarmi, kusangi, kubuddhi, kudasaha. I had been doing bad actions. I have taken up bad actions, bad karmas. Kukarmi, kusangi, bad association. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to come out. I didn't know anything about it. I got into bad association. I got into bad actions. And because of that, kubuddhi, my whole mind and intellect is bad. Bad buddhi, polluted mind. Bad action, bad association, bad intellect and mind. Kudasaha, bad servants also. People who serve also are bad. Because of all this bad vibration, only bad people get attracted. What can you do? That also is bad. Kulacharahinaha, kadacharahinaha. I am deprived of practices related to the caste system, traditional system. I have abandoned them. I am without them. No acharya, no practice. Nothing that can really take me out of this and take me to the above, take me into the beyond, take me into that purest levels. In addition to that, kudrushti kuvakya prabandha sadaham. Kudrushtihi, my vision also is bad. My viewpoints are bad. The way in which I look at the world is bad. My perception is bad. Who can say this? My perception is bad. My viewpoint is bad. The way in which I look at the things is bad. What a beautiful thing it is to understand that what I see in this world, the way in which I see in this world is bad. Always I am like this. My utterances also are bad. I hurt people, I blame people, I criticize people, I condemn people. I am troubling people by my words, by my thoughts, by my feelings, by my emotions, by my living, by my actions, by my practice. by my behavior, by my living. I trouble myself, I trouble others. I don't know what to do, but I know only one thing. What? Gatistvam, gatistvam, tvameka bhavani. I know one thing, that there is nobody else for me. There is no other shelter, there is no other protection. There is nowhere else for me to surrender, to take refuge in. I surrender unto you. I believe in you. I trust in you. I surrender unto you. I give myself unto you. I give everything unto you. All bad actions I surrender. Bad association I surrender. Bad intellect I surrender. Bad servants I surrender. My feelings towards them I surrender. Lack of tradition, practices I surrender. Bad vision I surrender. Viewpoint I surrender. Bad words I surrender. Bad deeds I surrender. Everything I surrender unto you, Bhavani. You take care of it. And when we surrender, Bhavani takes care. Because mother, goddess is the mother. Mother knows how to take care of children. Children may not know how to take care of themselves. Mother knows, and mother takes care. You have to surrender. When the child calls, mother has to rush, mother has to run. That is why Adi Shankaracharya, he doesn't need this. For our sake, on our behalf, he has given this Bhavani Ashtakam, the easy way of surrendering unto divinity. Various ways of offering all that we have. When we surrender, then we get into that level of being, in that beingness. Then we start seeing that intrinsic perfection everywhere, in everything. Then we get out of all negativities and start enjoying being one with that divine being. Wherever we are, whatever stage we are, whichever level we are, we will be contented, we will be happy, and we will be full of love. We will be manifesting peace, and then distribute and share that peace and love to all, and make the society a peaceful society and a very happy society. Inside happiness and peace, outside happiness and peace is possible through surrender. Very important, the path of surrender. More we will see later on, tomorrow. Concluding prayers. Yada varnayat karna mulenta kale Shivo Rama Rameti Rameti Kashyam Rameti Kashyam Tadekam Param Taraka Brahma Rupam Bhajeham 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 Namah Satchidananda Rupaya Tasmai Rupaya Tasmai Namo Deva Devaya Ramaya Tubhyam Ramaya Tubhyam Namo Janaki Jiviteshaya Tubhyam Namah Pundarikayata Akshaya Tubhyam Akshaya Tubhyam Sada Rama Rameti Namamrutam Te Namamrutam Te Sada Ramamananda Nishyanda Kandam Nishyanda Kandam Pibantam Namantam Sada Sudantam Hasantam Hanumanta Mantar Bhajetam Nitantam Hanumanta Mantaha भजेतं नितान्तं भजेतं नितान्तं प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रचंड प्रताप प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रचंडारिकाल प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रसन्नानुकंपिन् प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रसन्नानुकंपिन् प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रभो रामचंद्र प्रसीद प्रसीद प्रभो रामचंद्र प्रभो रामचंद्र सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।